Hey guys, it's Core Ross and welcome to 6 News. Today we're looking at the top issues and community concerns that has been updated by the developers. So let's just run through some of this stuff real quick and then we'll hit some of the more interesting stuff. So we've got the smoke canister propagation from gases smoke grenades. That is available in the new season of Siege right now, and it just means that stuff doesn't like go through walls and stuff. It doesn't clip through that, but it will go through like doors and holes in walls. I don't think it's great, but it's certainly a lot better than it was. So yeah, and let me know what you think if you've seen this so far in the game now that it's live. We've also got the bullet hole peeking, so you no longer be able to actually see through the individual bullet holes. This is awesome. I think there's not really a downside to this, so I'm really happy this is out. We've got improved flash detection and consistency. So this is for Season 3, so next season we should see this. And it basically just means that like light will bounce off surfaces in some sort of way to make it that your flash is more consistent. Not sure how that'll work out, not sure how much that will improve stuff, but basically I would imagine turning around and facing away from a flash probably isn't going to work in the future, or at least not as well as it does now. But the big thing here is obviously we're going to actually have to play with this and see if it really makes a difference and if it's noticeable in gameplay to the point of where you actually want to bring flashbangs instead of, say, a claymore or stuff like that. Now we're moving on to something that is interesting, and that is the enemies are too hard to see with certain skins equipped. And they do give us their actual solution they're going to use here. They don't show it, but they say our solution is to add a rim lighting effect to operators. And they say, so far we're quite happy with the results and feel it is cohesive with the art style of the game. This is very, very interesting. We don't obviously know what this looks like at all, but they seem quite confident about it. I'm curious because obviously, is it like a glow? Is it like a shimmer? Is it something that looks realistic? What is their solution here? We did see a bug, which they did confirm was a bug, and it was many seasons ago, where an operator kind of had a glow to them. It was kind of like they were shiny or something, and you were able to see them a lot easier, but I don't know what this is going to actually look like. However, I did notice something, and it's in Rainbow Six Extraction, that the cosmetics are actually built with glowing effects on them, which when I first seen it, I thought, oh, maybe that's going to be the like a solution for Siege. That's going to, potentially, because Extraction could be a little bit ahead in some areas than Siege is right now. And I thought that'd be sweet. But if you look at the bundle you get for free when you play Siege and Extraction, you get a outfit for Siege and you get outfits for Extraction. And you'll notice that Extraction has the glowy stuff and Siege doesn't. It'd be kind of cool if that would come into Siege as well, but they're going to go with some sort of rim lighting effect. We will see what this is actually going to look like, and it is coming with Season 3. So next season we will actually see this, and it could be quite significant change, or maybe it'll be quite subtle and blend in very well. Just going to have to wait and see. And now we've got gameplay topics, so this is a new additions to this segment. And we've got the Loadout Reset, which apparently has not been fixed yet, so this is just brilliant that it's still around, and that is very annoying. We've also got the flinching animations in PvP, which they're trying to fix. I think one of the things they've done with the kill cam right now, because usually the kill cam would give you a freezed image of the attacker you were up against, and usually they were flinching in it. They've now removed that, so you go for this third person perspective, which pulls you right out. It's like a bit of a shock when it happens, and you no longer see that freeze frame of them flinching. So I think mostly how they're going to fix this is just not show you it. That's how I think it's going to be fixed. Then we've got this one, which is interesting, I gotta say, because this is of course 6 years into the game right now. So right now, if a player goes into a down but not out state, they can be killed by a different player, and that different player can get the kill from the one that injured them. They're going to try and make it so that when someone injures someone, they get the kill no matter what happens after that, which is a great change, but it's amazing to think 6 years into the game, this is going to change at some point. And that it's not an easy fix. Like, it's not something they obviously are just able to do straight away in a little patch. They have to obviously work on this for some amount of time. And I imagine developing for Siege is like a 100-layer chocolate cake, and you've got something to fix, and it's on like layer 1, and you've got to like dig your way down to fix it, and then like everything above it gets broken, so you're getting to fix all that stuff. Then once you've done it all, you figure out there's something on layer 2 that's also needing fixed, and you got to go all the way through again. I imagine that's how it is kind of developing for Siege. Like, the game was never built for what it does, I think. It was never really kind of, I think, made to be the game that it is. So there's just so much busted stuff, and it's unfortunate because like this game launched broken. It's been broken since then. It went through Operation Health. That kind of slightly helped, and then it's just obviously broken since then again. But anyway, less of my complaining. Let's go on to friendly fire Team Gadget launcher damage. So this is like throwing a Legion mine and hitting a player, or, well, specifically a friendly player, or hitting someone with the Mozzie's Pest that you fired out, or say an Ash Breaching round getting fired off and hitting your ally. This is going to stop doing friendly fire damage. Now the explosion will still do stuff, like if you hit someone with an Ash charge and it explodes, then the explosion will hurt them, but the physical damage of it impacting them will not. So again, this is a minor change. There's no like time frame of when it's actually coming, but certainly it's nice, I guess. It makes it a bit more, because they do say like it doesn't really matter, like hitting a friendly with a Mozzie pet, it doesn't matter whatsoever. So they're just going to take away that damage hit that you would normally get, and I don't think there's a downside to this that I can think of anyway, so I'm totally okay with this. So look forward to that getting added in. Then we've got servers and connectivity. So let's start with the Xbox. The Xbox is still on the old servers, and it's noticeable. Like if you boot up Rainbow Six Siege on Xbox, you are sitting for a good couple of minutes waiting for it to connect to the servers. It is crazy bad. I can only imagine how much of a turnoff it is every single day if you want to play some Siege. So it's a real pain in the ass. Now I have heard that there's potentially some fixes for it, like taking away all your DLC that you've got downloaded on the game on the install. But that's a pain in the butt, and if you're losing some of your DLC from that, that's not a good solution. So it is very annoying right now how the servers are currently not in a great state. And I've certainly had plenty of people on PlayStation complaining, and for me on PC, I haven't had any real issues, and I will be playing on Xbox later in the season as well, once I get my rank on PC and try and get some of the Battle Pass levels done. But yeah, certainly interesting. The servers are, I think, a little bit better in some ways, and in some ways they're not, but it's a pain in the ass thing. I do like the fact we now have like Middle East servers. We do have better locations for players, and they are saying here they're looking to improve performance in the Middle East and the South African data centers as well. So at least they are doing stuff, and it'll be good obviously when the PC and PlayStation players and the Xbox players are all on the same servers, and I assume as well that needs to be done for like crossplay, which will be coming next year. But yeah, servers and connectivity is just an ongoing issue and a right pain in the butt. Now another ongoing issue is cheaters, hacking and toxicity. Of course, cheaters and hacking is a problem that has just sprung up really bad over the pandemic for every single game out there. Like every game is just under attack by cheaters and hackers right now. It is a pain in the butt. Any competitive game you jump into is filled with potential cheaters. So yeah, they've brought in automatic bans, which means that the game, or well, the servers or whatever's doing it, uses statistics to actually ban people. So this is the people that are cheating so badly and like are getting such high kill to death ratios or crazy other stuff. So the game is able to just go, oh yeah, you're definitely cheating. Now this was actually in place already, but every actual ban was being manually verified. Whereas now it's actually full on automation. It's just going to be automatically banning people. So hopefully it doesn't go rogue and just start banning everybody. But also, I imagine this will be a great little thing for now, but cheaters will get wise to it and be a bit smarter and not be quite so crazy on some of the stats and might not be as easily detected. But either way, it is a really good update, so I'm glad that is in. Again, we're in year 6. It's crazy that something like that wasn't brought in on year 2 or something like that, but here we are. Then we've got MMR rollback, so this is interesting. So of course, if you like play a season and you start that season off and you play a couple of games against the same player. Now, at that point, they might not be cheating, so you win the games. Now, later in the season, they might be getting desperate, and they go out and they buy some cheats, and they start playing with cheats, and they get caught and they get banned. So all the games before that have to be scrubbed from the records because, of course, Ubisoft doesn't know when they started to cheat. So they have to think, okay, they might have been cheating right from the start of the season, so all those games get wiped out. And of course, if you won against them, you lose MMR. They are looking to change that. You will no longer lose MMR in the future. Now, they do say that they don't have an exact time frame to say, but they're aiming for Season 3. So I expect not at the start of Season 3, maybe halfway through, or possibly going into Season 4, but certainly it is coming. Then we've got preventative sanctions. So this is interesting because this is the first visual part of the reputation system. And what they are going to bring in first, anyway, is automatic reverse friendly fire activated on you if you have bad reputation. So I'm up for this. This is totally fine. I don't know if it should show that to other players just so they know that you're a toxic player. Because it could let you know that you got reverse friendly fire on, but maybe not necessarily actually tell the rest of the team. So yeah, this is going to be just against toxic players. And again, it's like a stat-based thing. If you've been too bad a player, too toxic a player, it will start to sanction you for doing stuff. So it is literally the first part of the reputation system that we can see visually. So I'm interested to see if it's going to help at all, of course. And they don't mention the actual reputation system in here. I don't know what the time scale is on that. I'm thinking probably next year. Like, it doesn't seem like it's coming anytime soon, but it'd be good to get little bits of it. I'm amazed. Like, I had a solo game of ranked this season, just yesterday, and 2 players disconnected on, like, I think it was round 2, and they came back in at the end of round 3, and we lost 3 rounds, so we were 3-0 down. Somehow we still won, but they were blaming their internet because they say, oh yeah, our internet's terrible. And it's like, probably shouldn't be playing ranked if you think your internet is terrible, because that is definitely not a wise way to play it. But certainly, sanctions for abandoning matches is going to be harder this season on you. So if you have bad internet, you are going to really feel this a lot. And of course, if you rage quit as well, then certainly you're going to be feeling that too. Then we've got DDoS on consoles. You will probably, if you're a console player, especially towards the end of a season, you will notice a lot of players getting banned for DDoS attacks. And you don't see it much on console, but it actually does come up on your screen and lets you know. And this is the thing again, they never mention here whether this is DDoSing against servers or players, because if someone DDoSes a player, it should be undetectable to Ubisoft. Like, they don't have any direct connection to that internet source to know what happened to it when that player is disconnected. And of course, if someone gets DDoSed, they get then potentially more abandoned match penalties from this. So they are going in and trying to ban a lot of people doing DDoS attacks. As far as I know as well, they use a very complicated algorithm to actually detect the players that are doing it, because of course smart players are using distributed denial of attacks, which means it's coming from not their computer. So it's very hard to figure out who is doing it on which team and whatever. So they are, they have to look at multiple games with the same teams and then figure out which player it is who's actually starting the DDoS attacks. And that is not easy to do, so it's amazing that they can actually figure it out in the first place. But certainly, it's good that they're doing it. And then we've got mouse and keyboard on consoles. Now, of course, I personally am skeptical as they'll ever be able to figure this out. Like I've said in the past, the people who make the hardware that emulates controllers does update their actual hardware with firmware updates to get around any detection that is implemented. So like there was the famous one when Fortnite did it for a while, and then firmware update came out and then boom, Fortnite couldn't detect it anymore. So I am very, very skeptical that they'll ever come up with a solution for this. But I'm curious what they will do when they do come up with a solution, when they can detect it. Because will they do permanent bans? I don't think so. What I would love, this is my personal one that I would love to see, it'd be awesome, would be you wouldn't actually tell them that they've been detected. Because with crossplay coming in later this year, and of course crossplay between consoles and PC being its own thing, then I would love it if you just shadow them into PC lobbies. So you suddenly have these console players playing with mouse and keyboard up against proper mouse and keyboard players. I think that would be hilarious, and you just wouldn't tell them they were in a PC lobby. They would just be in a PC lobby. I think that would be brilliant and just a great way to get around it. But like I say, I'm skeptical they'll ever figure this out, but they are putting a lot of effort into it, and good luck to them. And then that's it for the blog post anyway. But we do have one more thing, because of course everything down here is from November. But yeah, let's look at one more thing. And it's this post by the Rainbow Six Twitter talking about the streamer mode. Now, I worked in a corporation for almost a decade, and when I read this, what I see is, it's very nice. It's letting them know that they're, trying to do stuff. But I think this basically translates to streamer mode coming sometime next year. That's what I think this translates as. And I do not think streamer mode's anywhere near. They talk about how Siege has a lot of technical debts, which is kind of like when this game came out, it was never really made to be, I think, in my personal opinion, it was never made to be the game that it is now. So you end up with all this stuff that was jerry-rigged together early on in development and in the early few years, and then they fixed a few bits, but again probably just jerry-rigged stuff to the point of where the developers are sitting with this mess of a game, which is a pain in the ass, I can only imagine, to try and fix stuff on. Because we see as the players the most simplest of bugs, which seem like things you could easily fix, like loadout resets and stuff like that, things that shouldn't be an issue but are. And I think it's just because this game is such a mess inside, because it's just had to be jerry-rigged together to do what it does now. But I hope, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe streamer mode's coming next season or something, or maybe 2 seasons away. But I think streamer mode is basically next year at the earliest. Because that's a pity, because I think a lot of streamers are going to drop off from this game over the next 6 months. We've already seen a lot of them drop off already, and I think a lot more are going to drop off. And I think the whole player base for Siege will probably half over the next 6 months to a year as well, just because the game is constantly an issue. And I think the main reason Siege has lasted so long is because AAA titles that have been coming out are terrible right now. They're being so freaking bad, coming out unfinished, just like Siege as well. Siege came out, it certainly was not a great game when it first launched. It was a bit of a mess. And every other game we've seen as well has been kind of in that same state. So if something like the new Battlefield actually comes out and it's actually good and doesn't have a hacker issue, doesn't have server issues, doesn't have any of the big issues that sometimes EA games have, then it could steal a lot of the player base. But that isn't a worry for me. I'm quite happy for Siege to get less popular, because that means less people are making hacks through it. So I'm kind of hoping Siege actually dies a little bit, but whether it will or will not, I don't know. But I do think the player base is going to drop dramatically over the next year, just because a lot of these big things cannot get fixed. And if something like Battlefield actually comes in and is actually good, then I think it will pull quite a lot of players away, but we'll certainly see. Anyway guys, let me know what you think of these issues, and just as well, do you think the developers are doing a good job of communicating right now? Because I think they're doing a lot better than they were last year, so I'm very happy about that. And with us coming out of COVID now, and things going back to more of a normal, I do hope that means development of the game gets up to a higher speed, because of course they have been kind of gimped a bit. I'm hoping that's going to be, better and faster now, but we'll see anyway. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.